Melanie into a star. She insisted that she have the career that she has.
At the time, she said to the New York Times, nobody wants to see someone whose husband has killed himself do comedy 4 weeks later. So it sounds like she took a little time off and got right back to it, because as Melissa Rivers has said today in announcing her passing, there was nothing in the world that made her happy like making people laugh.
Yeah. Well, she did take time off after Edgar. She went on this cruise with a lot of her wonderful gay friends, male friends. You know, she was just friends with everybody, except I think she couldn't forgive Johnny Carson.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. Johnny Carson gave her her break, was the first to put her on national television. She really made her name from there, and then at some point, Johnny Carson got mad and said never again.
Well, I always thought she was just too successful for him. He didn't really like women in business all that much. He was nothing like Joan. He had nothing like Joan's private person to fall back on. I think he was lonely and neurotic and bitter, but I didn't really know him.
Well, after Johnny Carson left the air, no one ever really saw him publicly again. He had promised us all that we wouldn't, and sure enough, we didn't. But as Joan Rivers met trouble throughout her life, she always came right back and in many ways served as an example. And as an example, Liz, it was last year that her older sister died. And she's quoted as saying the following: "The trouble with me is I make jokes too often." This was just days after the death of her older sister, and she said, and I quote, "I was making jokes yesterday at the funeral home. That's how I get through life. Life is so difficult," she said. "Everybody's been through something, but you laugh at it, and it becomes smaller. You'll make a joke, and it'll be it's just right off the cusp of someone having died or something bad having happened, and someone around you will go, too soon?" For Joan Rivers, she seemed to begin the process of making too soon go away.
Well, she used adversity to hone her own acts and feelings and to sublimate them in humor. And that's really a great trait. I mean, she became a big star after, in the last 5 years. I was just amazed at her that night in her own home when she opens the door and Elizabeth Taylor is standing on it, and she's been referring to Elizabeth Taylor as a whale and all these things, and she was just charming, and Elizabeth was charming.
Liz Smith, it's such a pleasure to talk to you again. I'm sorry under these circumstances, but thanks so much for the memories.
I'm glad to talk to you.
The great Liz Smith with us, and again, I thank her. You know, in the early 60s, with the help of the Associated Press, comedy was a man's game only. And it was 1965. This old guy was just 1 year old when Joan Rivers finally got a shot on The Tonight Show. And Johnny Carson had a quote for her at the time. And he said to her on national television, live at 11:30 at night on the East Coast, "God, you're funny. You're going to be a star." And that's exactly what he said to her after her first time. Nobody understood who works and who doesn't work better than Johnny Carson. Think of the careers he's launched. This career lasted since she was on Johnny Carson in 1965. She's been on television almost without interruption for 49 years. And you know, the truth is, she didn't even